walking in the thing. He really thought he got some major victories. The defense did some cute mess. They got the trial essentially moved. The judge is going out of his way to make sure that Diddy cannot do anything to get a mistrial, to get any funny thing going. However, in the middle of Diddy celebrating, let's not forget, there's a few things going on. Hold on, y'all. Let's turn the light on. There's a few things going on. Victim 3, okay, is going missing. On top of that, there's other few things that are going on. Victim 3 has gone missing, okay? They have gone missing. However, we don't think they're going to leave it at that. On top of that, Diddy's team is now facing an even bigger legal battle. It looks like Diddy's whole battle about racism in the court and about suppressing the evidence that came out of the Miami and LA Rays. And baby, we are talking about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil on the wall. Oh my God. The judge just read Diddy.
Salute everybody. We back with another one when it ain't no other ones. Look, this is my ex-girlfriend, y'all. Who came up with the thing? Who been singing the song? 1,000 bottles of baby oil on the wall. Allegedly. Who came up with that, been singing this song? Come on, bro. You know what's going on. Shout out to Tisa Tells. Shout out to every one of y'all. We're here. We're live. We're back with another one. Listen, man. Diddy takes a big loss, y'all. He takes a big loss. No Frank's hearing. The feds win big as well. We got I'll Be Sure makes Bombshell. He drops Bombshell claims on Fox 5 News as well. And we got Cassie. Cassie has been accused of being violent as well, like mutual participant in the violence, as well as Diddy. The judge says that he will make a ruling on that on Monday the 12th. So we'll be waiting on that, as well as, like Tisa was just saying, victim number 3 has been missing. Why she's missing, is she doing it willingly? Whatever the case may be, we don't know what the situation is, but we're going to get into it, all right? Salute to everybody. We here, we rocking out. We just going to see what Tisa got to say, and we just going to break it down, man, in real time. You know how we do. Salute to everybody. Like I said, once again, everybody drop a like, subscribe to On Go. Make sure you're a part of the network. Make sure you're leaving your comments. Make sure everybody's hitting the poll, because it's all about your own thoughts. I've been in the court every day, and even today I got a chance to be in the courtroom itself. You know what I mean? Got a chance to see Diddy himself, you know what I'm saying, him there, the blue sweatshirt with, you know, the white collared shirt with the tie and everything, you know what I mean? His hair is gray and it's kind of combed back and stuff like that, you know? So not only just being there, just to see like a Diddy or whoever that's in the actual trial or in the courtroom, you know, it's about listening to the victims' statements and these things that's going to be coming up. But as far as being in the courtroom so far, it's been about jury selection process, and it's been a seesaw. This whole jury selection process, they've whittled it down to the jury pool. Now the final stage happens on Monday. It's going to be the final ruling. We're going to know exactly who the jurors are. Not who we will know, but the jurors will be finalized, and we'll get into that. So salute to everybody. Let's get into this.
Down in what is the calmest dragging I've ever seen. And you know what? We apologize for everything we said to Judge Aaron, because he is on the case with Diddy, and Diddy just lost 2 major motions today in court. TMZ ain't going to talk about this. No one's going to talk about this, because this is not good for Diddy's team at all. And it literally lets you know that as much as people in the comments, and I do believe they're paid trolls, are talking about some, what are you talking about? Diddy this and Diddy that, it's no big deal. It leads me to believe that the amount of evidence the judge sees, because even though we don't know, Diddy knows his co-conspirators, Diddy knows his accusers, and Diddy knows all the evidence they have against him. They actually gave it to him a few weeks back. The judge has also seen it. And it lets you know that with the amount of evidence that they have against Diddy, the judge ain't tripping. They're like, all right. And this might explain why the prosecution, when victim 3 said they aren't testifying, was like, I mean, if you want to come. If not, like, listen, one monkey ain't stopping the show. Anyway, you guys, let's get into this crushing legal defeat that Diddy just experienced. And you guys, when I say you are not going to believe it, you are not.
Trust me, you're not going to believe this. I am going to be getting into a paperwork read as well. Like I said, it's a 15-page document I have right here, as well as a 4-page document. And I have a couple of more reactions that I do want to get into as well. We could get right into the read if you want to. We could get back to T-Cell, however y'all want us to do this. You know, all you got to do is just get in the comments and stuff like that. You know, I got a limit to it because sometimes it's a lot of trolls, so I just put a couple of minute limit on the poll. On the subscribers. So we see the Judge Arum, United States District Judge, defendant Sean Combs has moved to dismiss counts 3 and 5 of the superseding indictment, which charge him with violating 18 U.S.C. by transporting victim 1, victim 2, and commercial SEX workers in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that they engage in tuition. Combs argues that these counts should be dismissed because they reflect a clear case of selective prosecution and that 2421 has been individually deployed against a prominent black man. Combs' motion was denied. Now, the standard to make, this is why he took a lot of losses, some key things were actually denied for him, you know what I mean? So he took some losses, I'm not even gonna lie to you. The standard to make out a selective prosecution claim is a demanding one. The United States versus Armstrong, they go into it where federal prosecutors retain broad discretion to enforce the nation's criminal laws. Internal quotations omitted. This broad discretion rests largely on the recognition that the decision to prosecute is particularly ill-suited to judicial review. All right, so you know that's all fluff. They're going into cases and breakdown, right? So let's just skip a little past. See, he's quoting cases. Cases they're quoting. Okay, let's see if this is based on him. Was the story imposing the cost of the government respond to Prima? No. Okay, cool. Right down here. Combs doesn't have evidence of either discriminatory effect or discriminatory intent based on his race. On discriminatory effect, Combs offers up several examples of prominent individuals whom Combs believed may have violated 20. What? He offers up several examples of prominent individuals whom Combs believed may have violated 2421 and were not prosecuted. Okay, so he's snitching. Okay, so we got that out the way. So what else does that mean? Correct me if I'm wrong. If that don't mean snitching, tell me what does that mean? Okay, cool. All right. Combs says race is the reason he was prosecuted and they were not. The government responds by pointing out that these individuals aren't similarly situated to Combs given the SEX trafficking allegations against him, the broader pattern of alleged racketeering activity by Combs, and that Combs allegedly transported victims and not just commercial SEX workers across state lines, and that the lack of proof that Combs exemplars committed acts meeting all the elements of the statute. Similarly situated persons for selective prosecution purposes must have committed the same basic crime. Okay, so basically you got to be comparing yourself to other people that's similar crimes. He's just trying to say, okay, these people may have been charged for something, but they're just saying like, come on, you're just reaching for straws here. That's basically what they're saying. All right. On reply, Combs accuses the government of whipsawing him. He points to the government's opposition to his motions to suppress, which insists that violence isn't a necessary aspect of a 2421 violation. But this misses the point. For purposes of a selective prosecution claim, the way a defendant and a proposed comparator committed their respective crimes plays a role in whether they're similarly situated. I'll skip through the fluff. Simply committing the same basic offense isn't enough. In short, the government says that when taking a full view of what is alleged in the indictment and the nature of the alleged conduct, there is no basis to say that Combs was singled out because of his race. It's the severity of what Combs allegedly did, not his race, is that the matter is. That would be sufficient to deny the motion, but Combs also doesn't have any evidence of discriminatory intent. Instead, what he marshals is an assortment of mere assertions that race played a role in this case. Combs gestures to the government press releases, the way search warrants of his homes were executed, that he wasn't allowed to self-surrender, and alleged press leaks. He says these establish that the government has gone out of its way to humiliate him. However, Combs doesn't point to any evidence that racial bias played a role in the government's actions, that the prosecution team was responsible for any leaks to the press, or that the way Combs' homes were searched bespeaks a discriminatory purpose. For its part, the government argues that its press release and refusal to allow Combs to self-surrender were in keeping with how it has handled cases involving non-black defendants. Now, Combs devotes the bulk of his attention to the origins of 2421, which he says was enacted in 1910 to target black male sexuality. But whether the troubling history of 2421, its present day enforcement, appears on its face race neutral in this district, reaching across race and gender. As far as selective prosecution is concerned, 2421 current applications is what is at issue. Any argument concerning the statute roots must make sufficiently strong connection to what is happening in prosecutors' offices today. Combs's history lessons ignores what Armstrong requires, evidence about the government's motives in his own prosecution. Okay, cool. So then we go into it. You know, it's signed by the judge, so we know we're dealing with real documents. Having failed to show some evidence of both discriminatory effect and discriminatory intent, further discovery on these bases is unwarranted. The motion to dismiss is denied.
Oh, no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
That's nasty work. Okay, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Because we understand for you to get a Frank's hearing is for you to start to suppress some of the evidences that's been used against you. All right. So when they automatically are denying your Frank's hearing and your motions for these types of things, you're going to have an uphill battle. You got to fight this straight on. You know what I mean? No gloves, no nothing. You fighting the government. You know what I mean? It's the government versus you. No gloves. Okay? No gloves. The gloves are off. Trial has begun. And they're not trying to move. Then the government's not budging with them, right? So we also have more paperwork because we got the 15-page document. This is a document that we really want to get into. But let's get back into TISA. Let's rock out. Salute to everybody. Let's take a listen so we can understand what the hell's going on as well. And we're going to take a read.
Not going to believe this, okay? First off, Diddy had the BALLS to try to dismiss the superseding indictments. If you guys don't know, Diddy quietly made a motion to dismiss the superseding indictments. The superseding indictments was once they raided their house and they did a bunch of investigation, they came up with a list of everything that Diddy should have. The judge came back and said, absolutely not. We had the paperwork. We're going to get into the calmest dragging ever. He also denied another key motion that completely nullified the fact that Diddy bought a black woman on his team. If you guys don't know, the word on the street is Diddy's been looking for black woman lawyers for a while. He originally wanted 4 black woman lawyers, okay? Now listen, no shade to defense lawyers because they do God's work. Am I saying Diddy is God's work? No, he is a piece of work, but he is not God's work. The point of the matter is this new attorney that came on, I believe she worked as co-counsel with Young Thug, with Brian Still. She is supposed to be on her money. Oddly enough, she says that Tony Braxton's husband, baby, actually raped her back in the day, and she pressed charges, and I believe she was successful. Tony Braxton's husband and Kimora Lee Simmons alleged sneaky link Yeah, that girl had a run-in with him, and she actually pressed charges against him. The whole thing is she took it, and people are saying that Diddy had promised any black female lawyer of repute that came onto his team that he would 100% pay a minimum retainer of $2 million. This is before they even do any work. This is just what they get for showing up. $2 million to come and stand and defend him. Now listen, am I faulting her? No. Everybody got to make their money 100%. Do I think that she will be used as a token? Absolutely. Do I think that racism in the legal field is super, super big, or at the very least microaggressions? Absolutely. Do I believe that if whatever they trot her out to do, maybe make the race argument doesn't work, that they will find a way to blame her and we will hear about how she's the incompetent one and shit? Absolutely. But for 2 million, baby, do what you got to do, right? Do what you got to do. He has not been able to get any other black women counsel. Again, we all know Mark Garagos, part of his legal, is calling the prosecutors a six-pack of white women, even though they are a dozen of white women and men. I think it's odd. Anyway, y'all, we can talk about that later. Let's get into the way Diddy had his patootie handed to him in court. What y'all want to start with? We are first going to start with his first legal setback, okay? What is it, right? Okay, so we got to talk about it, okay? Diddy just got a devastating L. Let me put the paperwork up here for y'all to see. Diddy just got a devastating L. And again, his team is reeling about it. His team tried to suppress all the evidence the feds collected during those raids to his homes. We're talking about the phones. We're talking about the iCloud. We're talking about the videos of the freak-offs, right? But listen, Judge Aaron wasn't having it, okay? And he broke it all the way down. This is high-key, super embarrassing and humiliating to Diddy's team. Every time Diddy thinks he gets a little win, Judge Aaron comes back and says no. Again, people, my sources are saying that when you see the mountain of evidence, that is against it. So what happened, right? Here's the thing. We're about to go through the legal documents, but we need to get into this. There are two big things that Diddy's lawyers argued. One, his lawyers had the BALLS under clandestine submission to say that the feds lied and hid key facts in their search warrant request. And that means the warrants are invalid. And then they went on to say that even if they didn't lie, the warrants were basically general warrants, which are unconstitutional because they're broad and vague, like, oh, you can go search everything and we'll see what sticks. Diddy wanted a frank hearing, which is where you can challenge the truthfulness of a warrant. And guess what? The judge said absolutely not. And baby, the rest is history. Let's get into this. Hi, guys. Let's get.
I'm telling you, once they turn on the Frank's motion, Diddy is he's in a doozy right now. He's in a doozy. I'm not even joking. It's not even a game. Diddy is in a doozy right now, brother. And sisters, okay? I'm telling you, once they do them type of things, it's over. Trust me. They're not giving you no room to wiggle. This is supposed to be a big trap Rico and all of this thing, but he's the only defendant. This is another funny thing. They're like, dang, he's the only person. Will there be other people brought into this thing? This was one of the things that everybody's been thinking about the whole time too. But it just seems like Diddy got this fight going on right now, and there's no plea deals going on. So it's nasty work. I've been in the court every day. So just watch the videos, go to the upload section, and you'll check it out, and you'll see what the hell's going on. But we have a lot to break down, as well as this. Man, we got a lot. Let's just get into some reading, though. Let's just read this right here, and we can listen to a couple of more breakdowns. I still got this I want to listen to. Let's listen to this. Let's just put this on the board real quick. Get the I'll Be Sure on the board so we could get back to whatever else we're going to get back to, and we're going to get into the read. Let's do it that way. All right, cool. Let's get into I'll Be Sure. You heard it from yourself. He's saying, listen, but now he's actually being vocal, speaking out, saying, look, man, this is the first time I even said these things. You know, he been alluding to a lot of things, I'll be sure, for a while now, bro. He's been alluding to some things, but he's now coming out saying, nope, I feel that he had something to do with Kim and his own situation, because you know he was on death's door knocking like this, the upper room, and he was about to see Eddie and Martin. He was like this close from seeing Eddie and Martin. But the whole time, he's been always saying that he feels it's Diddy. You know what I'm saying? So for him, this is why I'm glad the way the newscaster's pushing on him. She said, do you have some real proof to back that up? But he's acting like he got some real proof to back that up. I don't know what it's going to be. Diddy already got something going on. It seemed like this is a whole nother fight that Diddy got going on with Al B. Sure and other people coming from the outskirts with their situations against him and their allegations against him. So it's going to be a lot. It's crazy. We still got pages to read. We still got paperwork to read. But let's just take a quick listen in. Let's take a quick listen in before we get there. So salute to everybody. Y'all drop your likes. Y'all share the videos. Help these videos to grow. If you are into the live content, I'm going to be at the courthouse more than not. I was there all week this week. I got a lot of different updates and different videos. I got some on-scene interviews as well. One interview for someone close to Diddy's camp. And I got another interview with a top lawyer, defense lawyer, and a couple of other conversations that I did have. Not interviews. I'm calling them conversations. I don't call them my conversations interviews, but you know what I mean, it's just conversations, and I want y'all to see that. So make sure y'all checking the uploads, the shorts. Make sure y'all dropping likes and subscribing to the channel.
Sit down somewhere, man. Where the school at, bro? Don't even send out else to us no more until you got to school, bro. We don't want to hear nothing else from you until you got to. We don't want to hear nothing else from you until you got to school, Umar. We don't want to hear nothing else from you ever again. We don't want to hear anything else from. We don't trust you. We don't want to hear nothing else from you until the school is up, man, and running. Period.
For real, man. Hold on, Ticket. Yo, I might have to second him on that. Yo, Dr. Umar, we might not want to hear nothing from you until the school come up, bro. FDMG, remember when thing used to have a song? Len on Honor? FDMG is coming. FDMG is coming. It's coming. He said the school is coming. Yo, he used to kill me with that shit. I swear. But Dr. Umar, get the school going on, man. That's all I'm going to say about that. We on Diddy case right now, so salute to all y'all.
All that other stuff you got to say about is uncivilized. He says, see, Macaulay versus Cuddy, or Macaulay versus CNTY of County of Rensselaer. 740 FD, y'all can read all the other paperwork. He says the Second Circuit differentiates between personal informants and witnesses like Cassie, who need not be shown to have been previously reliable before the authorities may.
We're going to get in there, man. I just like to hear his take on stuff right now. You know what I mean? Because we need all kinds of views on this, right? Because it's not just one view. But we got paperwork to read, so we're going to get into that. Salute to everybody. Hold on, let me do this, right? And right, boom. Let me do this. All right, cool. Make it bigger for y'all. Let me move my webcam. Cool. Let's get into some of this read though, because we got to get to this paperwork. All right, let me just make sure my mics and everything's on. Yeah. All right. Okay, so let me just make sure that this isn't, okay, no, it's not. Okay. Defendant Sean Combs moved to suppress evidence the government obtained pursuant to 2024 warrants. A January 2024 warrant to search Combs's iCloud accounts, a March 2024 warrant to search Combs's Los Angeles residence, a March 2024 warrant to search Combs's Miami residence, and a March 2024 warrant to search Combs's person and 2 cell phones. Combs claims that there are 2 grounds for suppression. First, he argues that the government's warrant applications were intentionally misleading. which at minimum requires a Frank's hearing. All right. Second, he says that the warrants were unconstitutional, general warrants, and the following reasons the motions to be suppressed is denied, right? Let me make sure. All right, cool, because I don't want to be reading and me hearing. That'll be the worst. All right. No Frank's hearing is required.
Can't be serious. That is some bullshit right there.
That's nasty, man. Because you can't suppress none of the evidence. That means everything that's been used in the house, whatever they found, everything that they found, is you can't suppress it. That means the jury's going to hear everything, see everything. If they have footage, video, tapes, this, that, whatever the case may be, this is what it's going to be about. Nasty work. No Frank's hearing. Under the Supreme Court decision in Frank's hearing, a defendant seeking to suppress evidence obtained pursuant to an affidavit containing erroneous information must satisfy both a state of mind requirement and a materiality requirement by showing that, one, the claimed inaccuracies or omissions are the result of the affiant deliberate falsehood or reckless disregard for the truth, and the alleged falsehoods or omissions were necessary to the issuing judge probable cause, and then they go into a statute, to obtain an evidentiary hearing on a Frank's motion. The defendant must make a substantial preliminary showing that he has met this standard, including the requirement that the affiant made the allegedly false statement knowingly and intentionally or with reckless disregard for the truth. And they go into another case. Sakaya's strong spirit. Salute to you, Queen. Salute to you. Make sure you subscribe. Stay blessed. You know, you drive by with some blessed energy. You know, just looked at your message. So salute to you, man. You got a spirit about you. You know, boom. To obtain an evidentiary hearing, okay, boom, 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 boom. They go into the case. The burden imposed by the substantial preliminary showing standard is a heavy one. Okay, Combs fails to meet this burden. Now the claim. This is a whole nother thing now. All right, so I don't want to go into the court side. I want to know what he's saying. I just don't want to just be reading a bunch of cases to determine. Hold up. Let me just make sure it's nothing about Combs in here. This is all case, right? All right, cool. Here, even if the court exercises the alleged misstatements and adds the allegedly missing information, Combs failed to demonstrate that the residue of independent and lawful information in the affidavits is insufficient to support a finding of probable cause. Victim 1, Combs says omitted evidence disrupts the government. Combs says omitted evidence disrupts the government's narrative that he forced victim 1 to participate in freak-offs, which was fundamental to the sex trafficking charges identified in the affidavits. When the warrant applications were made, Combs alleges that the government had possession of a device that contained blank, 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 blank. Combs also points to messages between Combs and victim 1 that he argues contradicts the government's claims that the freak-offs were coerced. In these messages, victim 1 tells Combs blank, 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 yo, what's up, set up the freak-off, basically, something like that, allegedly, right? So, blank. Combs highlight a message victim 1 sent him after a 2018 interaction during which the government alleges blank, 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 blank. Combs argues that these messages show the context of the relationship between himself and Cassie, victim 1 is Cassie, and blank, contrary to her statements to the law enforcement, actually blank, in a long, complicated, and often him and Cassie was in a long, complicated, and often loving relationship with Combs. Combs says that omitted evidence also undermines 2 other government allegations. First, that he blanked, and second, that he blanked. He cites text from victim 1 in which that And he argues that the affidavit should have included evidence about victim one's financial motive to exaggerate and falsify. He accuses the government of knowing but impermissibly hiding that victim one had blank, 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 blank. They own Diddy, bro. They own him. They own him. For several reasons, this information was not necessary to the issuing judge probable cause finding. Okay, allegedly the statements necessary to finding a probable cause, the affidavits, we ain't gonna go into that because these little things, what are we gonna get out of that? Nothing. Third, although an affidavit cannot be expected to include every piece of information gathered in the course of an investigation, a full view of omitted messages include information bolstering the probable cause determination. We cannot conclude that the government omitted certain information with reckless disregard for the truth when it is clear that fully disclosing the details would only have strengthened the wiretap application just 2 weeks after one of the messages Combs says should have been included. For example, they go into the example, and approximately a week after, blank, 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 blank. And another text message Combs says should have been included with victim one texted him, with Cassie allegedly texted him. These texts, if included in the affidavits, would have strengthened the government's showing of probable cause as further evidence that Combs physically abused victim one, that he coerced her by using blackmail, and that she didn't want to participate in some of the freak-offs. So maybe she did participate in some, but that doesn't mean she wanted to participate in all. As to the evidence of victim one's civil suit against Combs, the affidavits already include this information, blank, 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 blank. While the affidavits don't reveal that Combs eventually, blank, probably settled to resolve the case, it isn't clear how blank, Combs, undermines victim one's credibility, no, probably the suit or whatever, undermines victims one's credibility, just the financial motive to lie. And while Combs is correct that information as to a confidential informant's credibility must be considered in a warrant application, the Second Circuit differentiates between professional informants and witnesses like victim one, who need to be shown to have been previously reliable before the authorities may rely on their statements. In addition to other witnesses corroborated victim one's information, for example, the affidavit states that blank. They also state that blank, and that victim told the doctor. There's supposed to be a doctor that's supposed to be testifying as well in this case. It's crazy. Victims one's own statements to law enforcement were not the sole basis for probable cause. Finally, even if alleged misstatements and omissions as to victim one's undercut probable cause of sex trafficking, and they do not, Combs has not argued that they are material to other federal offenses identified in the warrants. Here, the application sought evidence related to multiple offenses other than sex trafficking. Victim one also not the only alleged victim of the sex trafficking in 3 of the 4 challenged affidavits. The Combs doesn't show that information about victim one was necessary to overall determination of probable cause of the sex trafficking when there was evidence as to other victims. He's saying there was other victims, so beyond what they're saying about Cassie and what she does to stop it, there's still other victims as well. But if the government relied on this information in the affidavit, Combs says it should have included sex workers. Other statements include that Combs says it should also have included sex workers, one, and other statements included that magistrate judges is more accurate understanding of the government says it didn't have sex workers, one, other statements when the warrants were sought. And Combs doesn't have any specific response on reply also. Well, let's read the subtext real quick. Hold on. While Combs identifies alleged omissions about individuals other than victim one, particularly in relation to the obstruction of justice charge, reply, he doesn't respond to the government's argument about why those omissions were immaterial. Combs doesn't challenge the SEX worker number one statement, nor was SEX worker number one the only witness who corroborated victim one's account of that violence. Even if his statements was removed from the affidavit or omitted material added, statements by multiple other witnesses support the probable cause determination. The warrant affidavit states that Combs says the affidavit cherry-picked a couple of statements out of the context to apply when Butler had, in fact, told assistant one, but the warrant application does not include the text, okay? Because when it gets into these middles, it just gets crazy because we just can't read too much. Let me see. But without the friendly text, Combs says the magistrate judges were given a completely distorted picture of what was really blank, 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 blank. Hold up. At the time, hold up, let me see. Before making her statements to law enforcement, at the time she made the statements to law enforcement, she did not have a financial motive to lie. If anything, she had a motive to avoid embellishing her story and embroiling herself in the government's investigation of Combs. So now they're just counteracting what he's claiming. Producer one, the affidavit stated that based in part on the interviews with producer one that Combs blank, blank, blank. Combs says that this was a misstatement because it was uncorroborated by any other witnesses and contradicted by boatloads of contrary evidence, including blank. Combs also argues that the government failed to disclose producer one's financial incentive to fabricate and embellish revealed by the blank, 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 blank. Combs says that the government's decision to rely on producer one at trial underscores his lack of credibility, including the missing information in the affidavit would have shown, according to Combs, producer one's motive to fabricate and to tell the government a story that matched the stories of blank, 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 blank. However, producer one's statements about drug use were in fact corroborated. For example, the March 22, 2024 warrant application to search Combs's home stated that blank, blank, blank. The affidavit also included several witnesses' observations of drug use that support probable cause as to narcotic offenses, even if what producer one said about blank was taken out of the affidavit as a misstatement, or if every fact about his lawsuit and demand letter was added. Assistant one's nearly identical recollection of and supporting information from other witnesses would support a probable cause finding. Every statement in a warrant affidavit does not have to be true. Ugh. Combs argues that the government blank, 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 blank. We're going to skip all them blanks, right? All right. Victim 3. This is who's gone missing. Victim 3 argues. Combs argues that warrant affidavits which stated that Combs blank, blank excluded her, whatever. She said that she was blank and that Combs blank, 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 blank. But if the affidavit had included all of Victim 3's public statements, this is all the things that she was stating on Tasha K, salute Mike J, salute Medusa, salute 1988 times, right? Everybody drop a like, make sure y'all hitting the poll, right? So they saying basically, so this victim 3 is allegedly supposed to be Gina. They saying allegedly, I'm gonna say allegedly too, but this is supposed to be Gina. So remember, she made a whole bunch of claims on Tasha K's platform saying that he did whatever, she was pregnant and all type of stuff. Remember what she was talking about. So they saying basically, if this is that person, it would lead up and make sense, right? So I'm gonna say allegedly, but let's just make sense of it, right? Victim 3's public statements, they would also have included a public interview in which blank, nor do a few positive statements undo the probable cause analysis when the affidavits recount how blank, 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 blank. And in another incident, they go into what Puff did as well. This is clearly sufficient to establish that Combs used force and coercion. Victim 4, the warrant affidavit state that blank and that Combs employees later blank. Combs objects that affidavits left out crucial information, including a text that her attorney blank, 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 and blank, 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 looking like they was offered some money, basically. He's trying to say the government wasn't aware of that when the affidavits were sworn. Combs' only response is that simply defies belief that the government wasn't aware of this specific evidence, like victim 1 and assistant 1, victim 4 is not a professional informant whose credibility had to be assessed before an affiant could rely on her statements. And in conclusion, inclusion of this allegedly missing information would not have necessarily undermined the probable cause determination. Further, while the affidavit detailed information about how blank was based on an interview with victim 4. Okay. And the victim 4 allegations were corroborated by phone records. And this evidence also further enhanced victim 4's credibility. And the warrant affidavit alleged that Combs' representatives tried to silence designer 1. It's a lot of alleged on Diddy, bro. It's not looking good for the brother. It's not looking good for this brother. Lord. All right, cool. Let me see. So Combs fails to show that the affidavits were intentionally misleading or made with reckless disregard of the truth. Combs' motion also fails to make out a substantial preliminary showing of the Franks 438 U.S. at 155 of the affiant intent to mislead or recklessness. Allegations of negligence or innocent mistake are insufficient to satisfy this requirement. There must be allegations of a deliberate falsehood or reckless disregard for the truth, and those allegations must be accompanied by an offer of proof. To prove reckless disregard for the truth, the defendant must prove that the affiant in fact entertains serious doubts as to the truth of the allegations. Second, alteration in the original quoting United States blank 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 blank. It's not enough to argue that an affiant omitted the kind of thing the judge would wish to know, distinguishing the Eighth Circuit's court objective standards set out in the United States v. Jacob. A reviewing court should not interpret supporting affidavits in a hyper-technical rather than in a common sense manner. While reckless disregard can sometimes be inferred from the omission of a critical information, it is harder to show reckless or intent to deceive, where, as is the case here, the omissions are not necessary to the probable cause determination. They go into the citing of a case where the omitted facts would have provided an additional or stronger reason for the judge or magistrate to authorize the requested warrant. A finding that those warrants were omitted with reckless disregard for the truth is counterintuitive. Okay, so let's see. So that's just a breakdown. So Combs hasn't done that. He argues that the warrant applications were intentionally misleading because the government had exculpatory evidence in its possession but failed to include it in the affidavits. And the government responds that it is unaware of most of the evidence at the time of the warrant applications were made. So the omissions could not possibly have been deliberately designed to mislead the authorizing judge. Okay, blank. We're not. Okay, let's see what they're talking about here. Until months after the gun possession, 6 months after the warrant. Let me see. Hold up, let me see. Let me see under the warrants. First, he says the government's claim of lack of knowledge, unsupported by any evidence, and simply defies belief. Combs bears the burden to make a substantial preliminary showing that the standard has been met. Attack must be more than conclusory and must be accompanied by an offer of proof. Second, Combs says that the government is imprecise about what the affiant knew at the time of the warrant applications. The court received a 12-page affidavit from blank and blank. In the affidavit, blank explained what blank did not know as to each of the individuals. Combs says the government omitted information about. For example, victim 1 acknowledged that he knew about victim 1's lawsuit against Combs, but stated that he was blank, while Combs in a supplemental letter claims the government blank blank. explained that let me see from the documents of the government received, he also stated that he was not aware of anything on victims one's electronic devices other than a single chat thread that the laptop was in the filter team's review process until after the warrants were authorized, and that he only heard that blank at the public bail hearing in September 2024. As to the SEX worker, I only had told him that blank. Assistant. There was supposed to be what? A chef? What did they say? It was a cook? Allegedly, I think it was a chef. They said they was allegedly in the free coast too or something like that. I don't know. It's crazy. The allegations is crazy, man. In this case, allegations is through the roof. Hold on, wait. Okay, cool, wait. We understand that this Frank's motion was denied, and this is a sad thing for him, because you're gonna have to fight all of these things. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to fight all these cases. But yeah. Third, Combs argues that the Frank's inquiry is not limited to what the individual affiant knew. Combs relies on the collective knowledge doctrine, which provides. Let me see. This is fluff, bro. Fluff. Let me see. The warrants were sufficiently particularized. All right. So they back in their warrants. Everything that came out the crib, everything they got on the phones, the iClouds, the multiple devices, the computers, the laptops. Everything is a go. So this is going to be a nasty fight for this guy. A very, very nasty fight for Sean Diddy Combs. Hold up. Let me see something. No. Let me see. All right. I'm at page 12. Let me just go right here just to see. Okay, cool. Page 12, right? The warrants. Combs also contends that the warrants are unconstitutional. We understand, Diddy. Combs doesn't contest, at least on their face, that the warrants at issue satisfy Galpin's particularity requirements. Let's see. In his household and relationships with the girlfriends over the last 2 decades, it is hard to think of anything. Okay, cool. Let's read this. Combs says that blank doesn't mean that much in this case because of the underlying charges implicate all aspects of his life, personal and professional, because the subject's offenses were defined as including all of Combs's businesses, his household, and his relationship with his girlfriend over the last 2 decades. It is hard to think of anything that would have been related to the subject offenses. In practical terms, he argues blank isn't a limitation at all, especially because the warrants authorize seizure of personal electronic devices that could contain sensitive private information. The government responds that the requirement that materials be related to the subject offenses is a real limitation because materials that were not related to criminal activity were fully protected from seizure, and because Combs' decades-long criminal activity was the reason for the large volume of recovered materials. So he's trying to say, I got other specific things that, you know what I mean, they may have some things that they may looking for, but they going into other personal things that I have in here, but they saying, listen, man, we done took everything in bulk loan based on the history of the crimes and offenses and all this thing in the time period, years long of the crimes. We just grabbed everything because we just trying to get everything. Basically is what they're saying. Courts in the circuit have observed the long time, wide-ranging, and complex alleged crimes justify casting a wide net. See what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. They're just casting a wide net, bro, to just make sure they don't miss anything. So you getting other things swooped up in there, personal stuff, and that you don't really want in there, but, you know, they fighting against that. Okay, finally, even if the warrants were infirm, suppression would not be warranted given the good faith and exception. Let's just get to here because this is where it's at. Combs' motion to suppress is denied. You see the judge's sign on the bottom line. You see the Judge Arun, Subramanian. It's crazy. No Frank's hearing for Diddy. That's gonna be a nasty fight, bro. Ugh. Nasty work. Jesus Christ. We still got Tisa. We still got this guy over here is crazy, man. Let's listen to Tisa. What Tisa going to teach? Tisa going to read the same thing I just read, man. That's what Tisa reading. See, Tisa reading the case. So to Tisa. All right, cool. We can listen. Yeah, he be bugging, man. Let's go and see.
Cassie. He wrote it all right there. All right there. He said they also state that blank, 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 and that Cassie told the doctor. They have a doctor that's going to be in here, y'all. There's a doctor that's going to be testifying in this trial on behalf of Cassie that Cassie told, right? It says Cassie's own statements to law enforcement were not sole basis for probable cause. So he's saying, the judge is saying that Cassie's own statements to the law enforcement were not the sole basis for probable cause. So Cassie went to the police. These niggas talking about Cassie beat up on Diddy because Diddy said so. They talking about Cassie beat up on Diddy. So where's Diddy's police reports?
Let's get to this.
The place in court he lost. He lost in every way you can lose today. It goes on though. It goes on. I told y'all this. He took 2 major losses. You cannot make this up. You can't make it up. Now let's read what's on your screen. Let's read what's on y'all screen. This fool took all kind of losses. Not only did he also lost, as the judge says, again, he won't suppress the evidence from the searches of his LA and Miami mansions, nor will he dismiss the 2 counts against him. You saying who said he won? These buffoons on YouTube like Bookman. Oh, did he got a major win? No, he did. That nigga took a loss. He took all losses. Look. So y'all read this one. Opinion in order. As to Sean Combs, defendant Sean Combs has moved to dismiss these counts 3 and 5 of the superseding indictment, which charge him with violating 18 U.S.C. 2421 by transporting victim number 1 and victim number 2 and commercial sex workers in interstate and foreign commerce with the intent that they engage in prostitution. See footnote 1 on this opinion in order. Combs argues that these counts should be dismissed because they reflect a clear case of selective prosecution, and that 2421 has been invidiously deployed against a prominent black man. Did I tell you all that shit with him bringing in that girl lawyer wasn't going to work? He was going to get smoked. He thought bringing in that black girl lawyer was going to help him. Nope. The judge shot that shit down too. Right? Combs' motion, read on y'all screen right there. Ladies and gentlemen, read with me. Read with me, y'all. Combs' motion, right? Read with me. Hold on, my bad. I got the wrong one up. That one right there. Read with me right there. Combs' motion is in all caps, denied. See this opinion in order. Having failed to show some evidence of both discriminatory effect and discriminatory intent, see Bass 536 U.S. at 863. Further discovery on these issues is unwarranted, so the motion to dismiss by Diddy is denied. So ordered the judge. He signed. Yes, I'm excited because a piece of monkey crap is going to be put down in prison. That's exactly what needs to be happening. Get all the trash out the streets. Point blank, period. Apostrophe. I don't care what it looked like. Black, white, Asian, I don't care. Get their ass out and clean this shit up. So your kids don't have to grow up in this BS. Opinion in order. As to Sean Combs, defendant Sean Combs moved to suppress evidence that the government can obtain pursuant to the 2024 warrants, a January 2024 warrant to search Combs' iCloud accounts. Remember I told y'all that they got all Diddy's iCloud accounts? Remember I told y'all this? And these bums was like, oh, ticket on these, man, nigga, shut the hell up, nigga. It's right there in black and white. You damn fool. I told y'all, read paperwork, idiot. It says that Combs, the government obtained pursuant to 4/2024 warrants, a January 2024 warrant to search Combs' iCloud accounts, a March 2024 warrant to search Combs' Los Angeles residence, and a March 2024 warrant to search Combs' Miami residence, and a March 2024 warrant, right? Warrant, right? Warrant to search Combs' person and 2 cell phones. Document 159, document 160 at 2. Combs claims there are 2 grounds for suppression. First, and smash the like button. We should have over 1,500 likes. Why we got the like button up? Why we ain't got the like button up? We should have the like button up. These niggas out here talking about Diddy got win. Diddy took all losses today. And I got more bad news on the way tonight. Smash the like button. The hell is wrong with y'all? Combs claims there are 2 grounds.
He's cooking Diddy right now. Salute to y'all, though. Salute to y'all in the belly. But yeah, y'all gonna have to smash the like button, hit the poll. I'm gonna tell y'all like Black Sam told Rockstar 2000. Yo, get it cracking on the like button or y'all gonna have to come back. Now, y'all gonna have to get it cracking on the poll, homie, on Neighborhood Cuz. Y'all gonna have to get it cracking to come back, homie. Get it cracking on the like button. Get it cracking on the poll. Salute to everybody. Let's get back to the content. But he's on Puff cooking me. He said, this monkey turd getting off the streets. I said, damn.
Oh no, you can't be serious. That is some bullshit.
But he in his
right
bag,
there.
man. He in his bag.
For suppression. First, he argues that the government's warrants applications were intentionally misleading, which at minimum requires a Franks hearing. Document 160 at 1, citing Franks versus Delaware. Second, he says the warrants were, quote unquote, unconstitutional general warrants. ID at 2. For the following reasons, the motion to suppress denied. See this opinion in order. Conclusion.
That's foul.
Combs' motion to suppress is denied. The clerk of court is respectfully directed to terminate document 159, so ordered by the judge. You bums want to keep playing with me? You bums want to keep playing with me? I show you. I show you I'm the toughest grass out here. You want to play off? Okay. I show you. I show you. And then, off the top rope, y'all, Diddy just got the worst news of it all. Al B. Sure, the legendary musician, has been subpoenaed to testify against Sean Combs next week in trial. Let me repeat myself again. The legendary Al B. Sure has now been subpoenaed to testify against Diddy. And today, Al B. Sure has come out and without a doubt said that Diddy was responsible, him and his associates, for his attempted murder where his organs failed and he almost lost his life.
Yeah, man. I'll be sure made some real bombshell claims on that. And he even went to the news, and we also played that on his stream. So make sure you go in and check that out. And hearing, I'll be sure to talk about that, especially when he's talking about what he went through. He's been always making his claims about Kim and things like that, and alluding to things. But as he said himself, this is the first time I've really openly really said that he was behind, allegedly, the things that happened to him and the organ failures and everything like that. You know what I mean? So he's basically alleging, you know what I mean, that Diddy and his associates damn near attempted unalived him. This is what he's alleging. You know what I mean? This is an attempted unaliving. That is what he's alleging. So that right there is scary work, scary work, scary work. We are going to take a little more listen. It's just crazy But what y'all thinking about this? This is what it's all about. It's all about what you are thinking about this, not just what content creators are thinking about this. You know, me being in the court every day now, you know, it's a different thing. You know what I mean? Especially, you know, I got to see Diddy today. You know what I'm saying? So I do make my jokes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But listening for the few days, because I went upstairs on the 26th floor one of the days of the week. I went up there to the court. But today, a few more people was in the court. And they also changed the overflow room was on the 23rd floor, usually throughout the week, this whole week. But today, the overflow room was actually on the 24th floor, 24B today. And you got to see, you know what I mean, you seen Diddy, you know what I mean, he looked like, you know, he don't look like he was like sad or nothing when you see him, you know what I'm saying? Because you look to think a person that like, you know what I mean, you fighting for your life right now. And, you know, he didn't look like sad or nothing, you know what I mean? He looked like stoic, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, his hair is really gray, like full gray, is slicked back. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Tom Cruise in Collateral with Jamie Foxx. Remember, he had the white hair with the great jet back, slick back, comb back. That's a white man hair. I need black people hair. What? Morgan Freeman, who you want me to go to, boy? Gray hair, backwards, homie, like that. Morgan, who? Anybody that you could think of, mobster, whoever. He had the gray hair, though, looked like one of the old school singers in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? That's not no joke. Real shit. I wasn't born in the 70s or nothing. So I'm just saying what I would equate it to from the times before me, the land before times. But, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, being there, listening to the different potential jurors, and people want to be down with this case. People just want to be in the case. They're fiending to get some fame and some notoriety from this. You know what I mean? Some people's up there trying to act like they ain't seen nothing. Nah, I ain't read nothing. I ain't seen nothing. Stay playing Stevie. My Sherry, amor, Judge Aaron, I ain't seen nothing. Pretty little thing that they ain't seen nothing. I don't know how you ain't seen nothing in this day and age. Every time you scroll, you don't have to go to channels. It's not like that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like back in the days, AOL and all this. You know what I mean? This is, you don't have to go to channels. You could just be scrolling through the shorts feed. You could just be going through your Instagram, going through your Facebook, and something just pop by you, and you stop and read it. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like it's in your history. It's just something that you're scrolling by. So, you know, some people that made some real shocking claims was allowed to get to the jury pool. One woman said, I thought I was going, when I moved to New York, I knew I was going to catch a case. I said, catch a case? She made it in the jury pool, y'all. I'm like, yo, it's up and it's stuck. But, yeah, man, so I guess just being honest, you know what I mean, brutally honest could have got you in that. Some people want to say the right thing, but some people just brutally honest, like they was talking like they didn't want to be in it. And they're like, objection, defense? Nope. Government? No. All right, thank you. Thank you for everything. Okay, cool. You can go and wait in room 23A on 23 till we're done with the proceedings. Yeah, bro. Sent it through. You know what I mean? So it just gives a more serious nature to this whole situation and to this whole case. For me, at least, you know what I'm saying? For me. Seeing people, seeing family, all type of stuff, you know what I mean? You're seeing things when you're there, you know what I mean? I just don't be running up and trying to ask everybody for something. It got this one person from TMZ, this woman, she probably followed my channel by now. She knows she see me, but she there. I'm just like, yo, she there running around. I'm like, how's your social media? She looked like I was asking something funny to her. What did she want me to talk about? Because she was coming to talk to me. I'm like, okay. I don't know if she seen me in my digs and all that and think I was trying to chill. It ain't that serious. I was not even. And she was with TMZ. So whatever, I'm like, listen, I'm like, how's your social media? You know what I mean? Because you on TMZ. I just want to know, like, how would a person on social media, like you, not like our other boy Van, not like him, because you know his social media is going to be whatever, but a person like her, I was wondering, like, you're on TMZ, you're running around these cases and stuff. I wonder how your social media is looking. That was just, that's really what came to my mind. Maybe she wanted me to talk about some regular stuff between me and her. I don't know. But she was thirsty. Capital letter T, homie. Capital letter T, homie. The whole shit. Look, this is the front of the T. This whole part is a T. Bro, she was thirsty. She like the Diddy's lawyers came out. You know, his lawyers came out. You know, he got Anyway, I ain't got to name his lawyers. But Diddy's lawyers came out, because it's a couple of exits, a couple of sides that you can come out of the building. So usually people go through like this little backside because it got like, pause no Diddy, but it got like a colder side and it's like more secluded than the front page over there by like Worth Street. So look, they coming out the building. Listen, the woman run down. You'd have thought she was OJ in the airport. Remember he like that? You could do it. Who did it? OJ can. Hit you with the foots, jumping over the luggage. Son, she hit him with that one, the Heisman over the luggage. By the car. They get in the car, son. She's sticking the camera in the car, homie, like this. I'm like, yo, TMZ, them people don't play. But I got mad conversations. Some people just coming up to me. Same people that she was probably trying to chase. They was coming right to me. You know what I mean? I was trying to tell her. One guy, she's like, yo, are you but she asked him, was he what? Was he a reporter? She asked the guy, was he a reporter? But when the guy came out, he didn't look like a reporter. He had a stick up his ass. He was a lawyer. She don't know this. I'm from them streets. I recently tried to put down my heat, but you got to pick it up sometime. You know what I mean? But I'm from them streets. On Jesus sandals, I'm from the streets. The guy looks like a lawyer. You know what I mean? He don't look like no journalist. The guy has a bow tie on, all that. If you see how he walk like this, he's like, she's like, are you a journalist or reporter? He's like, no, I'm not a reporter. I'm not a reporter. But she's close to me. I'm doing my own little video right here. Because I seen him come out. I got my camera rolling on the same door that the Diddy live feeds on. I'm right there by that door. But I'm just facing it just in case somebody walk by, I'll probably catch it. You know what I mean? I'm just chilling. People coming out talking to me. I'm chilling. She over there, though, close to me, but she over there. So I'm like, but I'm just talking out loud. I ain't saying yo to her. I'm just saying he's not a journalist. The man's a lawyer. You know what I mean? So she's like, oh, are you a lawyer? He was like, yeah, you can say that. Yeah, I'm an attorney. Yeah, I'm a lawyer. So she's like, oh, can I get a question? He's like, I'm okay. When I saw him today, and she was sitting, but it was yesterday. Wednesday, sorry, because there was no court on Thursday. Wednesday, when I saw her, she was sitting on the floor, and he came out, man, he made a beeline to the right. He didn't even want to see her. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even want to see her. He played Ray Charles and Stevie, bro. The man name was Ray Wonder on Jesus. The man turned Ray Wonder or Stevie Charles. I don't care what you mean. The man ain't see her. Okay? The man ain't see her. But yo, it's just crazy, man. It's nasty work. But yo, listen, man. I need for everybody to subscribe to the channel. Turn the notification bells on. Make sure you're notified when we drop him. We're going to listen a little bit more Ticket TV because he's crazy. While we rolling out, so you already know the vibe. Everybody subscribe to the channel. Everybody hit the notification bells. You heard?
And that he is willing and will testify in a court of law. But I guess everybody's lying, right, Bookman? Well, Bookman, let's hear what Al B. Sure had to say to Fox 5 News New York today.
Barely walk up the step to sit down here. Barely.
You were my first interview with Cristal, right?
Yeah.
When I was released from the hospital, and it was just, what an amazing journey it's been. You know, I figured, look, when you get lemons, make Arnold Palmer.
So what are you doing now? How are you getting the word out?
Well, you know, it's been
We heard you, Al. We heard you loud and clear, buddy. We heard you loud and clear, man. This whole situation is crazy, man. This whole situation is crazy. What can we say about this, man? Everybody subscribe to the channel. Everybody make sure they are subscribed. I got some uploads that I'm going to be dropping a little bit later on today. They're going to be dope. I got a dope conversation with Renato Stabile. You can go and look up this guy, Renato. Look at the guy and say, you got an interview with this guy? Yes, bro. Came and spoke to me like a gangster, bro. G'd up. Who are you with? The Most High God. They asking me what publication, like what news people I'm with. I'm a Uda. I'm with the God is with me, homie. Who you think with me? Hold me down. They be like, all right, cool. You with God? All right, let me hold you down. You the last shooter? Yeah, I'm the last shooter. Especially out of my clique. I am. Don't care. Allegedly. I'm joking with y'all. Nah. You know what I'm saying? But nah, you got to shoot your shot. That's what I'm saying. You got to shoot your shot, bro. So I'm like, yo, what's up? I spoke to him. Because look, he's talking to these journalists and all these kinds of people. That don't mean he won't talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a regular person. You know what I mean? No matter how you dress. They ask you, when people talk to you, they asking you like, what publication are you with? Who are you with? Like, you know what I'm saying? They asking for credentials when people want to talk to you. Like, so you just think you want to walk up and talk to people. Some people are looking like I don't know about that, brother. You know what I'm saying? So God willing and God bless that many people spoke to me, you know what I'm saying? And I got a lot of good conversations, and I'm going to be uploading them today and tomorrow for y'all. So y'all need y'all checking in that, making sure y'all know what's going on. And you know how we do it, man. We rocking out, Uda, 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 intermission. We going to rock out. We going to listen to a track, as always. I do want to listen to something, tell you the truth. Diddy. Shout out to all the real ones, man. Shout out to all the real ones. You heard all of the real ones in the chat, man. All of the real ones. That's rocking through. That's rocking with On Go. You know what I'm saying? All of the real dudes that's rocking with us. All of the real ladies that's rocking with us. I appreciate y'all. Feel me? Most definitely do. Salute to all of y'all, for real. And yeah, I think I'm gonna play real ones, man. It's a real record. It's off my project too. It's off my album. It's featuring a dope artist called Destiny Mariah. Ironically, she worked with Ryan Leslie as well. You know what I'm saying? That's how I met her. She was working with Ryan Leslie, and we ended up doing a few records together. You know what I mean? Me and Destiny. Her name is Destiny Mariah. You can look her up. You can go and check her. Dope, talented artist, man. What could I say? What could I say about her, man? Yeah, man, what could I say, man? You know what I'm saying? Just dope, talented people, you know what I'm saying? Dope, talented artists, man, for real. So this record right here is called, this is Real Ones, right? Yeah, this is Real Ones. Me featuring Destiny Mariah. Just show y'all some of my writing capabilities. I write all the music. The singing songs I sing or other people sing. I write country, I write rock, I write pop. I write music for artists in the industry. I've been doing that since a kid. Yeah, you know what I mean? So this is a record. I'm on this record too, but I'm doing like a bridge at the end, like some singing thing. And everything that she's singing, I wrote and arranged while we was in the studio. So, yeah. Salute to all of y'all, you know. Some of y'all may need my help with some things like that, you know. If I got the time, I'll help y'all and show y'all how to write music and songs and some of the things that I learned to do, you know what I mean? So, salute to that.
Ready to order.
Real ones. Destiny Mariah. Shout out to all the real ones. All the real ones put a one in the chat.
What's love got to do with it, baby? What's love got to do with it, baby? If I was your girl and you were my man, I'll give you one.
Shout out to all the real ones, you heard?
If you give me love you.
She let me do me, let me roam around, and she ain't worried about all the girls around, cause she so used to being queen, she let them wear the crown. She got my back, she hold it down, right by my side, never slow me down, always pick me up whenever they throw me down. Been through the lies, got her crying now, she still believe me, and I'm lying now. She be inside, she ain't hoeing around, and she ain't got a bad name all through the town. Every day I love you more, I had to tell you now, and then I'll prove it to you, just let me show you how. Real ones, my real ones. If you ever had a real one, hands up if you a real one.
This goes out to my
real ones, my real ones, real ones, my real ones. If you ever had a real one, hands up if you a real one. This one goes out to my real ones, my real ones. She been through, her family hating, the women calling, and she still waiting. thinking of marriage, but she don't wanna chase it. She ready when you ready, a true test of her patience. Love that you show can't replace it. My trinity in this matrix. You just a regular, nothing about you is basic. I be out late, plus the missed calls. You ain't eat right and can't sleep at all. The scary thing is, you won't beef at all. You got this feeling in your stomach, you can't keep it off. I guess it's women's intuition. I know it's late night and I've been missing, but listen, baby, I'ma make an honest woman out you. I'ma get that wedding ring, I'ma show you better things. No talk, just show, no let 'em in. We got haters from the door, you can let 'em in. My sweetheart, like I gave you my letterman. Hope you get what this letter meant. You a real one.
What's love got to do with it, baby? What's love got to do with it, baby? If I was your girl, you still were my man. If I was your girl, cause you were my man. If I'll give you all, love you, do with it. What's love got to do with it, baby? What's love got to do with it, baby? If I was your girl, and you were my man, I'll give you all, if you'll give me all, love you. If I was your girl.
Then the rain come back down. You know the rain always come in a relationship. And I appreciate all y'all, you know. I most definitely appreciate all y'all, you know. I ain't really got much to prove, you know. But I do a lot. We from a lot. And we've been through a lot. You know what I mean? So y'all just get to know me. You know, just get to know me. Just as you see, I be trying to just get to know y'all. And I don't ask y'all for nothing. Most people that you see and you watch are going to ask you for something at some point. Any person that asks anybody for anything cannot fuck with me. Do you hear me? I don't ask nobody for nothing. I'm a giver. We're going to give to our people and help them. My people going to give back to me because it's natural. I'll never ask them for nothing. People will be a part of my tribe and they will understand and they will help me to live because I will help them to live. I'm not no content creator. Okay? I don't have to react to talent and stuff online. I'm a talented person. I write songs for some of the greatest people that you like. I can talk about that. I can talk with them on the screen here on my channel. I'm just a regular person when I come here. I'm not trying to be nothing. I'm not trying to be a gangster. I'm not trying to be this, and that. I'm not trying to be none of that. I'm not. I've gotten away with a lot of things in my life. I don't know about you, but I have. Okay? And I don't plan on doubling back for a lot of you. I don't. We're positive, we're building, we're helping our people. I want people like that. I want people that's showing love to our people, helping people to lift in real time. This channel will help at least 100,000 channels to monetize, man. That's my goal. It's my goal. Every day I'm helping people in real time with their channels and everything that they're trying to do. And I'm doing it all for free. And ask any one of them, man. I'll spend all my time talking to you because we all matter. I don't go far without you and you don't go far without me. This is how it works. It's how it works, man. Trust me. You got to stop being individuals and start building together now. Trust me. Trust me. Salute to everybody, though. Uda. Right after that. Right on that go, y'all. Always on the go. Subscribe to the channel, man. Trust me. Be a part.